Someone asked me recently what my thoughts were on dating outside of my social class, and I answered that I would quite literally never do that. And here's why. For the purpose of this question, I took social class to sort of mean like socioeconomic class. So my economic status may be around how much money I make, the social status, like perhaps the caliber of school that I went to and the spaces that I found myself in as a result and the people I found myself surrounded by. And then also like the lifestyle I've created for myself that's a combination of like the economic status and the school and the spaces and all of that. I think you guys get how that fits together. It's important to note that I did not grow up with a lot of money. My father went to prison when I was 4 years old. During that time and all the time after, like my mom has been a public school teacher, so they don't make a lot of money. When we first moved to Atlanta, we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with 7 people sharing one bathroom. Like I literally shared the bottom bunk of a bunk bed with my second oldest brother, and then my oldest brother and my sister-in-law were on the top bunk of that bed. Okay, we were not a Jack and Jill family, okay? Money was not, we didn't have a lot of it. So knowing my circumstances, when I was like 12 years old, I made this vision board for myself. My mom actually found recently in her storage unit. I had basically carved out my entire life, like what I was gonna do in high school to make sure I could get into an Ivy League college, and what I was gonna do at that college to make sure I could get into a certain law school or buy a certain car and have a certain apartment or home. Like all of these things I had planned out, and I knew that because my family didn't have the same financial resources someone else's did or access to certain people to get me into doors, I had to open them myself. So that's what I did. I created an insane amount of opportunities for myself by literally putting my blood, sweat, and tears into everything I did. From the time that I was 12 years old until now, like 23, I was so intentional about every decision I made, whether it was not dating in high school or not drinking or prioritizing school or trying to get different scholarships. I did everything in my power to make sure that the life I was creating for myself while I was kind of stepping into the autonomy that I would have even as a teenager, going into a young adult, being able to create the life I want to, that I was doing everything in my power to have something different than what I had growing up. And of course, I didn't have to do this. I didn't have to stay up all night applying to scholarships to earn over $500,000 to go to college. I didn't have to apply to Columbia and do all the things that is required to get into a school like that. But I wanted to because I wanted to have a certain life. Even when it comes to content, when I started making content, I was taking 19 credit hours. I was working 3 days a week in office at my internship, but then I was also working with a tech startup virtually. And then I also started doing content. And it was probably one of the hardest times in my life. But again, I knew that I wanted to set myself up for greatness, and that is what was required. So knowing that, understanding how much work I put into the person that I wanted to be and the life I wanted to have feels so unfair to me now, and also to my younger self who was just so forward thinking and like put so many things on the back burner to prioritize the life that I would have right now. For me to date someone who cannot give me the life that I've always wanted, like they can't match it. I don't even need you to give it to me because I've already gotten it for myself, but if you can't be right there with me, it's not fair to me to lower my standards or accept certain things that I knew I never wanted to, which is why I worked so hard on myself just so that I can be with you. And it is not lost on me the fact that a lot of guys my age are just not going to have what I have, because I'm in a very unique position to make an insane amount of money for someone my age. And that's where the other part of the socioeconomic status comes in. I need to at least see that you have worked as hard as I have to put yourself into certain spaces, to open up certain doors for yourself, to go to certain schools or whatever it is, because you have this intrinsic ambition and drive, because you know that you also have your eyes set on the sort of lifestyle that I do, and that is what you're actively working towards every day. Not having that does not make you a bum. It doesn't make you undesirable. It doesn't make you an unattractive man or anything. It just makes you incompatible with me and the lifestyle that I want to have. I appreciate the drive that I have and the confidence that has been instilled in me because of all the things I've been able to do for myself, and I really appreciate that in other potential partners as well. So if I'm really considering like seriously dating someone, not just like a casual date, whatever, this is something that is a requirement for me. It's not like oh, I hope or maybe I will. I've tried it before. I'm not doing it. This is what I require, and I don't think it's a lot to ask. Shit, I asked it of myself at 12, and look.
My question is to the people who do settle. If you've worked so hard to get to 10, why would you drop down to 1? It never made sense to me to work on myself this much, even myself. I'm working on myself so much. I'm sacrificing so much to continuously build myself. Why would I want a man to subjugate me, to control me, to remind me that I need him to rule and control me? I don't want that in my life. I want a man who's secure within himself and his own sexuality, who's confident enough in his own decision making and can trust that I am capable to do the same. Obviously, I expect loyalty. More than anything, love can wait. I expect loyalty. Loyalty is the most important ingredient to me because if you can be loyal, you can never betray me and you can never betray my love for you or for me. Okay? Because you're loyal to me, you know. You give your 100% to me. You know, you're devoted to me the way you would be devoted to your God. And even at that, you're not devoted to God. But anyway, that's another topic altogether. So for me, I would prefer a man who's devoted to me. So if you're not devoted to your God, you should commit yourself on a 100% level to me. I don't want a man who's insecure, because the minute he's insecure about himself, he's more or less insecure about me. He's more or less secure about his position in life and the things that he wants to achieve. So a man who's insecure, bye bye. I don't want a man who wants to, like I said, a man who's not stable in his thought patterns. Let's think about it. A man who's not stable in his thought patterns, what is he thinking about? You know, it probably thinking about things that are not even supposed, you shouldn't be thinking about, you know. So I need a man who's capable and training himself and keeping himself in check and also holding himself compatible. But this is not about me again. I'm just using myself an example because it's me, it's my channel. But necessarily, I'm not focused on men. I'm working on myself. I don't even want kids at the moment. So if you have one kids, another thing, that's another problem. So if my man came in my life and said, you know what, I don't want kids, I would be like, okay, good. I don't want kids as well. So yeah, if they come, they come. If they don't, they don't. So it's nothing. It's nothing for me to even worry about. That's like, yeah, kids is one of those things that I still haven't implant to date. So if like they're like a miracle, they'd be like, yay, this child is a miracle. This child prevented a, like, came from even with an implant on my arm. Like, yeah, that kind of type of situation. Like, I didn't know I was pregnant, that type of situation. But again, I've worked my ass off to be where I am, and I'm still working my ass off to be better, to do better, to earn better, to live better, you know. My finances are better, doing greater. My career, the things that I want to do, you know, obviously I'm not going to share them here. So once they've manifested and come to pass, I will share them here. But I'm not going to share my open. But I'm done so well for myself. You know, I knew that I'm an ambitious woman, so I want to keep up that level of ambitious. I don't want to drop down to one from a man who's not ambitious because he's insecure, because he's consistently fed himself with negative thought patterns. So I'm content being alone.
I think I realize why so many people are mad at Black people. I think I see why so many people are so upset with us. Because a lot of those folks, they expect Black suffering. They don't expect us to prioritize ourselves and our safety. They expect to snap their fingers and receive servitude. They expect to clap their hands a few times and we just appear to perform activism the way they would like us to do that. They don't expect us to look out for ourselves or for each other. They don't expect a world of nuance that is Black people. What they're used to and are afraid to admit is servitude. They see a Black person in active service who have chosen to be in active service of humanity, and they expect that. They want to frame what that service should look like and how that service should be performed. Never mind that they automatically take out the humanity and the agency from the Black person who is performing these acts. Because if you look at a Black person the same way you look at a snack machine, and when it doesn't give you the snack that you immediately want, you start beating on it, then of course you're going to be upset when you watch Black folks start to prioritize ourselves. Of course you're going to try to manufacture a beef which, to be honest, I still feel like it's an inside job and somebody's influencer got paid for that. So I hope the check was good, because you're out here messing with things that you don't need to be messing with. But back to what I'm talking about. I think we need to get to this place where we don't expect people to show up in the service that we want them to, but we expect them to show up in service the way they are called to. Speaking specifically for Black folks who've had to fight for our humanity in ways that few other groups have. Notice I said few and not none. Just wanted to highlight that. So I think it becomes easier to beat down on Black people when you don't expect them to be human, when you only expect them to serve you, to perform for you, and to dance for you, and to cook and clean for you. See how that's starting to sound? Black folks are not a monolith. We are allowed to engage in our own agency. We are allowed to use our voices how we choose to. And after all we've been through, the last folks anyone has any right to call colonizers or any other hateful derivative is Black folks. Put some respect on our names. We're the ones who gave you the language of liberation and showed you the way forward in community. Now, can we move along so we can actually help some people? Okay, thanks, bye.